Big Sam Allardyce, one of the most iconic managers in English football, may have just ended his career by claiming he was better than Pep and Klopp before getting Leeds United relegated.
There's nobody ahead of me in football terms. Not Pep, not Klopp.
I mean, maybe he's got a point. He is the only England manager with a 100% win record. Ignore the fact he was there for just one game though. Today, we're replaying his career by turning back the clock as we place a 39-year-old Big Sam back at his first full-time club, Blackpool. In reality, Blackpool got relegated this season, but can Big Sam keep them up? No, he can't, as Blackpool finished with one fewer point than they got in real life. But look at that title fight. Imagine if that was a real scenario. Sam does keep his job, and he looks to get back to the Championship at the first time of asking, something which he is able to pull off by winning the playoffs in extra time against Rotherham. So already a pretty exciting career for Allardyce, especially as he gets sacked the following season as relegation was looming large. I've never seen that message in a Football Manager career profile before ever, so that's the new one for me. But he's not out of a job for long, as Sunderland appoint him a month later, guiding them to 14th place as Blackpool suffer a second relegation. Has Sam somehow fallen upwards here? Or maybe he's just a world-class manager as he guides Sunderland back to the Premier League after beating Derby County on penalties in the playoff final. It was always going to be a long shot, but can he keep them in the Premier League? Well, he has done. Or has he? Because Sunderland now seem to have a different manager. In fact, he never managed in the Premier League at all, because after winning promotion, he left Sunderland to join Leeds United in the Championship. So I guess in-game, Leeds have a high reputation than Sunderland do, so all the zeros and ones in the code in the background are telling Sam Allardyce that actually Leeds is the better job to go for. But surely, even in game, a manager is not going to leave a club destined for the Premier League for a team in the Championship. Or maybe somehow in-game Allardyce just feels guilty that he got Leeds United relegated in real life. But he does get them promoted by winning the playoffs, beating Stoke in the final to become somewhat of a playoff specialist. It's his third promotion via the playoffs. So next season there will certainly be a big grudge match between Leeds and Sunderland. Whoa, it's a bit more than a grudge match. Look at this, Sunderland relegated and Leeds stay up by a single point. So basically he's got his former club relegated. Sam, what do you think of Sunderland getting relegated? Oh, that is scathing. The following season, Big Sam makes progress as Leeds rise to 14th place and almost secure European football, but lose the League Cup final to 2 late Arsenal goals. But everything is pointing in an upward direction for Sam right now, as he finishes a place high with Leeds the following season, although there isn't another cup run. I don't know if the Leeds board are going to start getting a little bit restless. They are going to want to see a trophy at some point soon. And if Sam can't do it, then they'll get someone else who can. Especially as Leeds fall to 15th the following season and finish behind Sunderland, something I'm sure those fans will have really enjoyed. The form from December down is absolutely abysmal. I'm surprised he's not been sacked already. Although somehow his job status is secure, and that just doesn't really feel like it should be the case based on that form we've seen. That poor form continued into the new season, and that really was the last straw, as the Leeds board sacked him in November. But 2 weeks later, he was given the Crystal Palace job and got them relegated. Luckily, Leeds recovered to 15th place in the table, but if they had been relegated, I think Sam would have been credited with 2 relegations in 1 season. But this was Palace's first season back in the Premier League after 3 seasons out of it, so I guess it was expected that they would go down. So a decade after starting his career with Blackpool in the Championship, he's back in the Championship, but this time isn't getting promoted. Palace finished 2 points off the playoffs in admittedly a very tight fight. In fact, they drew the last game of the season. Had they won it by 2 goals, they would have been in the playoffs. So clearly Palace aren't quite the team for him, and in December the following season, he jumped ships to Middlesbrough in the Premier League and guides them to safety on goal difference on the final day of the season with a dramatic draw against Liverpool, once again relegating his former side, Sunderland. That's a lot to unpack, so let's all take a moment to breathe and subscribe to the channel and like the video if you haven't done so already. Exactly 1 year after joining Borough, Sam leaves them to take over Burnley and gets them relegated as Middlesbrough finish mid-table. And it's not like Burnley were doing well before he joined them. Borough were ahead of them all season, so I am just really confused about this career move. Borough's reputation is 7,000 and Burnley's is 6,800, so it's not like the game is telling him Burnley have got a higher reputation. So he's back in the Championship and will be for another season after this one, as Burnley lose in the playoff semi-finals, his first playoff defeat. Also, incredible seasons from Southampton and Leicester, as Wrexham and Southend also sneak into the Championship. But don't worry, because Big Sam does retain his playoff form the following season as they beat Cardiff in the final to get promoted. Sam really has become a Championship playoff promotion specialist, but hasn't been able to finish in the top half of the Premier League. He's just that perfect manager to get a team promoted and then move on. But if he does want to have success, time is running out for him. He started his career quite late at 39 years old, and he's now 54. He needs his Burnley job to work out, or he may never get a top managerial job ever. Luckily, Burnley have a good season, and he records his joint highest position in the Premier League at 13th. That is something to build on going forward, as the following season, he leaves Burnley in November to join Sheffield United to finish in 16th, 3 points behind Burnley. I don't know why Sam keeps making these really strange moves. It makes no sense. Firstly, he left Premier League Sunderland for Championship Leeds, then high-flying Middlesbrough for relegated Burnley, and now a decent Burnley side for a shaky Sheffield United team. I just hope something works out and he can prove me wrong. But maybe he sees something that I don't, because the next season, Sheffield United go to 12th in the table with the highest points total Sam has ever had in the Premier League. And then the following season, he guides them to 9th place in the table, just missing out on European football. Except, he doesn't. Sam was actually sacked in November for poor league positioning, and then was made the Wolves manager, who, of course, got relegated. Looking at Sheffield's form, I can kind of see why he got sacked. It was a very poor start to the season. And for those of you counting, that relegation with Wolves is his 4th relegation. So he's going to be gunning for his 5th promotion with them the next season, which he almost gets. Despite coming 3rd in the table, he loses the playoff final to Middlesbrough, his former club. Luckily, Sam does guide Wolves back to the Premier League the next season by finishing 2nd to Cardiff for his first automatic promotion. Cardiff may have won the league title, but they got relegated the next season, whereas Wolves came 15th, well away from that relegation zone. Although there was a massive gap to his 2 former clubs, Leeds and Middlesbrough, just ahead of them. Next season though, he does manage to overtake Sunderland and come 12th in the table, a very respectable position, but it could have been a lot higher. Wolves lost their last 6 games of the season, and had they won them all and gained an extra 18 points, they could well have been looking at Europa League football. That may have just been the big chance that Sam Allardyce needed, and he fumbled the bag. Especially as next season, despite finishing 12th place again, they had fewer points. Perhaps it's a year of consolidation before they have a big jump up the table next season, or not, as they fall back to 14th place with less points again. And so Sam Allardyce, who at this point is still yet to win a single trophy in his career other than of course the playoff final trophies that he won, decides to hang up his managerial boots. This has been one of the most bizarre careers that we've simulated. We've done quite a few of these now, and Sam is the first to never win a trophy and to only manage in one country. But he did cross paths with a legend. You see, in his final season with Wolverhampton Wanderers, Arsene Wenger was in his first season at Newcastle. So if you want to see how his career panned out, you can watch that video on screen right now.